Following the actor strike last year, Marvel made the announcement that several of their projects are going to have their release delayed, one of them being Captain America 4 or Captain America Brave New World. Now, the reason they're citing for why this movie got delayed is because they said they needed to do some pickup shots for it, even though principal photography was supposed to be concluded. It's kind of a standard practice for many Marvel movies to have some reshoots in order. But the movie was supposed to come out roughly 5 months after the actor strikes were concluded, which you would think that'd be plenty of time to do some pickup shots. But no, they had to delay the release of it a whole year, which got people thinking, well, is it really just a few pickup shots? Or are you fundamentally changing the production of the movie? And now we're starting to see more evidence it looks like that's the case, because last May they said that it's only supposed to be a 22-day reshoot that they're getting starting on. But come to find out, that didn't really hold water when you think that they're bringing in new characters, bringing in new writers for it. So it looks like they're not necessarily just doing some simple reshoots, but they're actually just reshooting the whole movie. And now we got one of the actors that is in Captain America Brave New World pretty much confirming what everyone's been saying, that they essentially shot the movie once, saw it wasn't really good, and then after the actor strike was over, they went and shot another movie again. This is coming from the Direct right here with the headline, Captain America 4 star confirms the rumors about the movie's reshoots. One of the stars of Marvel Studios' Captain America 4, officially titled Captain America Brave New World, opened up about some of the film's problems and how Marvel sought to fix them. Captain America 4 has had more than its fair share of production issues, leading to the Phase 5 film being heavily reshot and rewritten ahead of its 2025 arrival. While reshoots are an integral part of every MCU production, the extent of Brave New Worlds has viewers deeply concerned. And fans should be concerned by this because, generally speaking, when a movie is reshot and rewritten into the extent that Captain America 4 has, the final product does not do too well because it comes across less as a cohesive story and more as just multiple movies stitched together, because, you know, that's kind of what's actually happening here. Combine those issues with behind-the-scenes controversies over the inclusion of Shira Haas's Israeli heroine Sabra and lingering negativity from superhero movie fans, and concerns for this film's release are still quite prominent. And the inclusion of Sabra in this movie, I think, is a large reason why they delayed the release of it, because before they announced back in November that they were going to be delaying the release a whole year, back in October of last year, I think we all remember that's when Palestine decided to attack Israel, which kicked off the Israel-Palestine war that's going on. Then Marvel looks at Captain America 4 and has basically the Israeli version of Captain America in it. And they're like, maybe we don't want to include that in our movie. From what I'm to understand, Sabra is still in it, but they're kind of changing her origin. She's not Israeli, and I don't think she's actually going to be in costume. It's just gonna have the character in it, so that's part of the reshoots, I imagine, amongst other things that they were doing for this too, because there was also the inclusion of Giancarlo Esposito's character in this movie. He was initially absent from the original draft of it, but then last spring when they announced they're doing reshoots, that's when it was also announced that he's going to be participating and they're going to be bringing in new writers. So he was someone who was kind of added in at the 11th hour, and I'm just kind of curious if the final product is going to look like that. But up until this point, though, they've been maintaining that, like, no, everything's going fine. The reshoots are just minor. It's just little rewrites and reshoots, kind of what we always do. But if that's the case, we got Tim Blake Nelson here, who is in the movie, who was last seen in the MCU in, 2008's Incredible Hulk. And this is what he had to say about it. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, Captain America Brave New World star Tim Blake Nelson addressed the rumors surrounding reshoots on the MCU sequel. This comes after Captain America 4 got cameras rolling a second time in summer 2024, which left MCU fans concerned about the quality of the movie's story and visuals. Nelson, who will return at the MCU as the leader, explained how he had shot the movie twice after originally filming his material 1 year prior. Well, we're done. I've shot it. I've actually shot it twice because I did it originally a year ago, and then we came back and redid a lot of it, beginning of it this summer. The article goes on to say almost every MCU movie goes through some level of reshoots, but Captain America 4 appeared to be more extensive than the usual Marvel Studios outing. Most reshoot schedules last about 6 weeks, whereas the time frame for Captain America 4 lasted for months, which has never happened before, which, for people who don't know, is enough time to shoot a whole other movie. So I don't know how much of this they actually started with and how much is all reshoots. But it's looking like the final product is heavily edited version of what they originally sought out to be. And some people might look at this and say like, well, that's not a big deal. They had a problem with it, so they're reshooting stuff in order to try to fix it. That's a good thing for them, right? Well, I would say no, it's not a good thing for the studio because they spent so much more money on making this one, and I'll get to more of that in a moment. But also, you just have to understand the studio was spending a lot of effort to try to make sure people weren't aware just how extensive the reshoots were getting. That's why I was showing those articles at the start where saying like, oh yeah, we're going to delay it because of the strikes going on, or we're going to be doing some reshoots, but it's only just a couple weeks of reshoots. Marvel did not want it getting out just exactly how much they're actually reshooting, or that they're shooting basically a whole other movie and basically financing a whole other movie, because it's not good for them, because it makes it look like they don't know what they're doing. And if they're putting out a movie and saying we didn't know what we were doing when we started making this movie, that's not really a good sign. But another bad sign for Marvel is just the fact that because they had to basically finance a whole other movie, the cost of this one is pretty much the cost of shooting two movies. It's been reported that the budget is $375 million or upwards of that much, which is just an insane amount for just a singular comic book movie. The only other MCU movies that have been more expensive than this, I believe, is probably Avengers Endgame. I know that one is like around 400 million. And I think Avengers Infinity War might have been around 350, maybe 400 million. I'd have to double check on that one. But either way, that means this movie is up there with those ones. And with the amount they usually spend on marketing and also the production budgets, this is something that probably needs to make $1 billion at the minimum at the global box office in order for Marvel to just break even, which I don't think is going to happen when it comes to this movie, because Marvel movies in recent years have been slipping. And if they're able to break $500, $600, $700 million, that's considered pretty good. Guardians of the Galaxy was the best thing that they released in the last couple of years, and that was around $850 million that they brought in. But even then, they spent so much on the marketing and other aspects of it. Some could even argue that movie lost money. So it's looking like unless this is just a runaway hit, it's going to lose money too. Now, I'm not saying the movie's necessarily going to be a bad movie, because going by the trailer, it looked okay. I didn't really inherently have a problem with the first trailer for it. I think there's some stuff that I think looks interesting, and maybe the movie will actually be decent, but they're setting a high bar for themselves by spending so much money on this movie. But if I'm going to be optimistic towards Marvel, there also are rumors going around that they're trying to get rid of a lot of the people who are pushing activism at the MCU, and they're trying to almost change course and make sure future projects are better. This was in the pipeline long before those moves started coming down. So I don't know if this is going to be one of the newest things that's basically the new era for the MCU, or if this is going to be kind of like the last remnants of the old guard before we start seeing the new stuff come in. Once this movie comes out, we'll see what they're actually doing with it. But like I said, this looks like the Marvel is setting their bar so high for themselves for success, it's probably going to lose money. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think this is just kind of a nothing because reshoots are pretty standard practice, or do you think this is an indicator that the movie's going to be a dud? Comment below, and if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.